Hey.
Hey.
Again. How are you?
Good, thank
How's
you.
your
Really
morning so
good.
far?
Good,
How's
good.
your morning so far? Is it good?
It's been good. I just got back from my 2-mile walk and ready to face the day.
Very optimistic. I
Yes.
love that. I
Yes.
love that. I love it. Okay, firstly, thanks for coming on. Thanks for
Yeah.
coming on. This is going to be like a super powerful, impactful show because you are not just like an ordinary artist.
Mm,
You're not just focused on music. It's like one of your channels, one of your
yeah.
components of your brand. But there's so much more to actually like touch on when it comes to you. But before I make myself like a fool, can you please pronounce your surname?
Yeah, no worries. Benevides.
Benavides.
Yeah,
Okay, I
Glenda.
went like first I was like Benevides. I was like,
Right.
okay, let me just like get it to make
Yeah.
sure it's correct.
Yes.
Yeah. So like okay, so Benavides, is it like what like cultural background is that?
Yeah, it's well, it's my stepfather's last name and
Right.
it means good life and it's Portuguese.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
Portuguese. So that's the roots of it.
Yeah.
Nice,
Yeah. Yeah.
nice. So I guess we can start, day one. Like, how did this all start for you? I know, like, for bulk of us artists out there, it started off when we were still kids. We had that calling somewhere deep within. So, like, with you, how did it all start? Let's touch on that first. Like, your
Okay.
music. When did you know, okay, this is for me? And when did you start writing music, composing, and so on?
Yeah. Um, it didn't start out with writing, per se, but, I touched on it when I was about 13. So I wrote my first song kind of thing, but that was it. And then after that, I was always in music in school and, doing that type of thing. And then next thing I know, I was in a band. And I got into a band and then I just kind of continued down that road. And so I was making my living as an artist. I was making my living as a musician, and I just kind of stayed on that path for, gosh, a good 15 years. And then I realized if I really wanted to sustain, at least at that time, sustain my career, sustain my life inside of music, I felt that I needed to write something. I needed to write music, and that would create an income, that would create this, as my young brain was thinking. So, um, and so that's kind of where that started. And so I jumped into I need to write. So what do I want to write about? And at that time, I had actually stopped being on the road with my bands, and I came home and I just really focused in on what do I want to say, what's important to say. Um, and I just kind of went down that path and started working with other artists, the other musicians that I could collaborate with and create something extraordinary. Hopefully, that was the intention. Yeah.
Okay, we'll get to that part, of creating something like impactful. So, how was life like with the band? Weren't you like on the same like page as in what each of you wanted to do? Because each of you have like a separate agenda for you to actually like step away.
That's a definitely a twofold question. So gosh, bands. Um, it depends on what stage you are in life, like when you're 16, when you're 21, when you're 30 or 40, it's like a whole different thing with other artists, Hopefully you can align with each other and be really clear about the direction you're going or what you want. And then once you can be inside of that, then everybody's synergistic. You see what I'm saying? Otherwise, there's
Yeah,
conflict or, somebody's got an ego issue or, there's some kind of agenda going on other than what are we doing as a group, you know?
yeah, yeah,
So that's like a tough question, it's but it's all fabulous. It's all learning. There's, you're always run up against conflicts and stuff, you just do. That's just part of life, right? And then you learn
yeah, yeah,
to
yeah.
negotiate through that with yourself, based on who you are and where you're going and what you want, and how do I communicate properly with somebody so it's effective, those kind of things.
Yeah, no, it can't be easy. A few weeks ago, I had a rock band also from the
Okay.
States. I was also on here. And I mean, I threw these questions at them because, like in 2024, you really get bands that are actually sticking together, especially if you're fresh, like you actually came out onto the scene, like from, say, 2022,
Yeah.
2024. And they managing to keep it together. I mean, it's not easy. They do have their disputes. And the other surprising part about it in 2024, which I was so shocked by, but also admired about them, is they're still keeping the band together and they're still under like a label with the traditional record label deal in 2024.
Yeah.
So it was quite interesting for me to tap into that because I rarely come across it. I'm sure when you were in the band versus now, what could have changed? I don't know. I've never been in a band. Is it easier now than it was back then? You mentioned ego, that does, demolish a band and bring
Yeah.
it to, down. But yeah, so I mean, do you have any like regrets of leaving the band, or was it like the best decision you could make for your career? Where, like, I mean, where you see yourself now?
Yeah, I think it's an evolution. So it's not either I love a band or I don't love a band or I get, it's not like that for me. It's more of um it's easier to work with a partner, another music partner, because of technology. We have all of that. You don't necessarily need a band, and depending on whatever level you're on, it's not necessarily fiscally easy. It's like doesn't make any sense unless you're touring and you've got that set up, and you're doing a lot of work, then that's a whole different thing that you might want to investigate into. Like, okay, yeah, let me get a band together. But when you're doing one-offs or spots or appearances, just bring your tracks, unless you're band centric, and that's fine. And I was for many, many, many years, and I'm not now. I'm more of a songwriter, singer, entertainer, author. So it doesn't make sense for me to have a band. Gosh, what was it? 23, 24. No, sorry, 23. Duh, we're in 24. 22, 23. I decided to put a band back together, and then great people. Don't get me wrong. Everyone's mature and everything like that. But man, it's a lot of work, and you have that responsibility. So as the songwriter, as the leader, you have, like, I got to pay these people, and whatever gig I need to get the gigs, unless I have a really good agent, which I don't at this point. So it's a lot of responsibility. They get paid before I get paid, which is not cool. So I was like, wait a minute. Why I did all the work and no glory, and I pay everybody.
Yeah,
So, and I didn't get paid. And you got to deal with the nonsense too, like with the clubs and all that kind of thing. It's like, no, it's not worth it.
Wasn't fair. I mean, okay, if you look at it like working with a band versus being an independent artist,
Yeah.
and okay, you got your producer, you got probably other composers that you're working with, other songwriters that you're working with, you got your mixers, your engineers that you're working with. It's like sort of the same thing, and you just have to all be like on the same page, with the same vision. But I guess when it comes to if you have to differentiate the two, everyone has to go according to your vision.
Yeah.
We're in the band now with like a group vision, and I think that's like where the conflicts actually take place. If you're working with a producer or songwriter, now they have to go according to Glenda's vision, not our collective vision.
And how I approach it is I bring the song to the table, even if they're just gunners, players, they're not part of like a band. We're all creating together. It's not like that necessarily. I still allow people to be themselves. I allow them to take on their creativity, so if they, okay, if it's just way out in left field and the song doesn't even sound like the song that I wrote, okay, that's a different story. But this is not, it's not usually like that. You have a foundation, you got really good players, really good gunners. They come in and they play inside of what you want in the key, in the whole, the whole vibe of it, and they get to express themselves. So
yeah.
that's key. So You don't want somebody to
Word
say
expression.
something rote.
That's what
You know?
art is about. What music is about.
Exactly.
Expression. Express yourself.
Exactly.
That's what we all
Exactly.
hear.
Yeah.
Express yourself.
Yeah. And I'm
So
an
when you went
artist
to
first and
yeah,
foremost.
yeah. It's your
Yeah.
job to create and express yourself,
Yes.
in any form or mean. So when you went solo, so that's when you actually started doing like your own music. And when was that? And how did that go for you?
Yeah, that was back in the 90s. I was working with an artist up in Oregon, and I don't know where you're from, but I'm in the United States, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I started working with him and co-writing, and so that was my first kind of attempt to co-write with somebody else, which was really, really enlightening. And you can see how like each segment of one's life, musical life, can change based on who you're working with. It's really interesting. Unless you're Prince and it's like, no, I want it like this. It's got to sound like this. But it's
Michael Jackson. No.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, to
Yeah.
answer your question, I'm based in South Africa.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm in South Africa. I just have like I built like my whole career around like the United States. Like as
Nice.
far as my network is concerned, who I work with and so on. So yeah, so I mean, just off topic a bit here, like what I'm attempting to do with my mandate that I've been building since 2021 is to empower the independent space, like within South
Nice.
Africa and move its way up.
Nice.
Like a lot of people ask me, okay, Kino, what you still doing in South Africa? And then I have to explain this, like what I'm attempting to do here. So like I'm bringing like, all this first world resources,
Yeah.
I'm building a solid network with independent artists, producers, anyone within independent space in the United States and the UK. And I'm just bringing it, and I'm like trying to empower, especially when it comes to the lower class, like
Yeah.
in South Africa.
Nice.
So just to get them onto this mindset that, look, don't only look at yourself as an artist, you need to look at yourself as an entrepreneur as well within the music business. That's how it is in this economy, in the music economy at least. If you're still going to be depending on the 360 record deals or waiting for some fancy producer or record label to come away and sign you up, it's not going to happen. And as we proceed and move into the future now, the chances are like just low.
Yeah.
And even if it does happen, you're going to get a bad deal. So rather do it yourself.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
have a vision long term. I know like you're a long term person. We're going to touch on that as well.
Yes.
Long term
Yes.
vision, long term goal. And you're going to share, like the advice that I want you to share like on the podcast is going to be so beneficial to all these artists who will listen to the podcast.
Yeah.
Because then they like really get it and where I'm coming from.
I hope so. It's like don't be fooled by the illusion. It's an illusion. They're selling you something of grandeur. Oh, look, you're going to get famous. Oh, you're going to have girls, or you're going to have bling. You're going to have money. It doesn't work like that. It's like, no, most likely they're going to take advantage of you because you're the artist, and they have their goals, and they have their specific things that they need from you in order to make their business successful. So you as an artist, you need to do the same thing. You need to say, okay, what is it that I need? If I have to go study or figure out business, then I need to do that. What does it mean to be an entrepreneur? What am I responsible for? How much money do I need? Where do I need to go? And we're in such a great time on some levels as artists, is that, we can get stuff out in the world. We can work with other people to mix, master, and get our stuff out there and understand, what does that mean? What does my art really mean? For other people, not just for myself. And I think as human beings, as we continue down a road of how can I serve others, what makes a difference for me, what uplifts me that I can share with somebody else, and I think standing in that place, you'll start to see the creepy crawlers come out of the woodwork, but you'll be able to say, no, it's okay. I'd rather get a loan at 2% than get your record deal at 360 and don't own my masters.
Yeah.
Do you see
Yeah.
what I'm saying? It's like, don't do
Yeah.
that. Don't do that to yourself.
Yeah.
I know it's very enticing. It's very sexy, oh yeah, and I've had some pitfalls with certain, come in, and they just took your money,
Yeah.
took your
Yeah.
money, took your money, took your money, and look where you are. Nowhere. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. It's also, the financial aspect.
Hmm.
That's where I feel like many artists, I mean, myself personally as well, like when you're in this game and, you have to have the long term vision, but I guess some of them fall for whatever comes away and who's willing to pay first, which is the issue. And I mean, I brought this up also, it was 2 weeks ago, and the guy made me laugh because he said, you know what, if that's the situation and that's the problem, and you have financial setbacks, so you're battling financial at the moment as independent artists, go and get a job, do it 50-50.
Exactly. Yeah.
Simple. Go get a
Yeah.
job, have a
Yeah.
side hustle, but
Yeah.
don't put your signature on that paper, whatever you
Exactly.
do, because you're going to be not only, just handing everything over to these guys at the top, but you're going to be selling your soul,
Exactly. I wrote
You're
a
not going
song
to be
about
making
that.
art that means something.
I
You're going
wrote
to
a
be
song.
making music that actually sells. It sells
Yeah.
because they were worried or concerned about bottom line, not
Yeah.
what your art is actually trying to do, within the world, because they don't give a shit what
Yeah.
happens in the world.
Because
They're
well,
just,
and people are buying it because they can relate to it.
yeah,
They see themselves in it, or you're giving a message that's like, oh yeah, that's how I feel too.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
It's a crowd, It's like your audience is not my audience is not your audience. So what my message is, I've got my crowd out of
yeah,
the 7-8 billion people in the world. Though there are people out there, a good percentage that feels the same way I feel, that feels the same way you feel, that is going to relate to our music, our books, our blogs, whatever it may be. Because as you said, they're going through the same emotion
yeah.
at that time. So you need to be their hero. That's what.
Absolutely,
Yes.
absolutely. And
Yeah.
the music business is a business. So, if you think Jay-Z and Beyonce are like pretty neat and you want to go with that, well, let me tell you, there's they've got their issues, they've got their problems, and it's just a whole different mindset, and I think I'm going to go back to this and say this again. I think it's really important as we journey along as artists. It's really important to really be clear about where you are at the moment and what is it that you really want, and then educate yourself, really educate yourself, find out from, other artists, engineers, mixing, mastering. What is that? Like, how do you utilize that? What's good? What's quality? So you got to come from that place with yourself too.
Yeah.
If when you're deciding where you want to go with your art.
And it's 2024. All the information is online.
It
You
is.
know,
It
we had to
is.
go
I mean,
20
some
years
of it you
back.
have
It
to
wasn't
some
that
of it you have
easy.
to sift through.
Yeah. But like what you said now, so let's jump a bit here about being clear. So when I was first reading about you, I noticed the 5 C's that you
Yeah.
have, and clarity is one of them.
Yeah.
So do you want to touch on that 5 C's? Because you started off now with being clear. Like, what is clarity? What does it mean to have clarity?
Yeah. Well, I believe that's the foundation for everything. So if you're not clear, there's no way you can have any kind of courage. There's no way you can have confidence. There's no way you can step into connection or community or commitment. You can't commit to anything because you don't really know what you're committed to. And then eventually you get to community. Then once you start with, as I say, clarity, courage, confidence, commitment, and community. And it happens in that order. It really does. So, because once you have that clarity, then you can go, okay, I can have the courage. I can step out. I can try this, right? And then once you've tried it, then you go, oh, I've got confidence because you're doing it, right? Then
Yeah,
once you
yeah,
have
yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
confidence, then you go, okay, I got confidence and now I'm committed to it. Let's do this. And then guess what? It's so infectious and seductive that you got community. People want to help out. People want to be a part of it. They want to dance to your music. They want to sing to your music. They want to be with you, right? That's how it works, at least in my vision. That's how I see it.
So did you come up with like the 5 C's? Okay, I'm sure you did, based on your own personal experience.
Yes, yes. Yeah, I wrote a book on it. It's called Courage, Find Your Fire and Ignite Action in Your Life.
So do you? Oh, yeah.
There it is.
So that's one of 3 books.
Yeah.
It's one of 3 books.
Yeah.
Right. So do you mind sharing, like, okay, like a bit of personal story, like how did it all just come to? I mean, the first part of like clarity for you.
Sure.
Like, how did
ag-
you gain clarity?
Yeah, well, it's an ongoing thing. Like, oh, I want to do that. I'm really clear. And then you kind of go, no, I don't. Or you step out and you go, oh, I'm going to do that. And then you go, yeah, that's not really me. That's really a process of getting clear. Like, because you have those moments where you're like, yeah, that's it. I'm clear about that. And then you jump in, you start doing stuff and you kind of go, yeah, that's not really me. That's not really in alignment with me.
Yeah.
But I've learned some things. Right. And so for me, it all started, oh gosh, 2018. I was standing in my kitchen and I had a bunch of girlfriends around me, and one came up to me and she goes, I think I was sharing or something. And she goes, you're a real badass goddess. And I was like, what? And the first thing I said is like, no, I'm not, and then I thought to myself, you know what does that mean? Like, I need to define that for myself. So I really did. So I sat down and I really thought about what is a badass, and I redefined it acronym wise: beautiful, accessible, right? BEA, right? I'm sorry, BADDASS. No, so BAD, sorry. It's morning. So, I sat with that and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to embrace that. Like, I'm going to take that as an acknowledgement and a compliment, and I'm going to make it my own. And so I started to go down that path, and I started my own magazine back in 2018, and my own podcast, which it's still up. I just don't do it much anymore. And I thought, you know what, I would just really want to interview and honor other people, other women that are actually making a difference. So I started that path. And then that was like, okay, I'm done with that. That's not really, I need to like back off, stop, so much work. And then the book came. And then it was like, a good friend of mine had told me, he's like, yeah, I've been writing this book for 10 years. And I thought, how hard is it to write a book? Like 10 years? Like, okay, maybe if it's a historical book, but there's a lot of research involved. But I thought, no, I'm not, that's just so crazy. So I thought, okay, Glenn, why don't you write a book? And I'm like, okay. And I said, well, do I have anything of value to share? And I thought, okay, let me do an outline. And I came up with, Claire, what does it take to have courage? Because people were always asking me, you're so courageous. And I was like, okay. So I thought, well, let me write about that. And I thought, clarity, it takes clarity, then courage, then confidence, then commitment, then you have community. So I really I sat with that for a little while. And I wrote the book in about 15 days. And then I sat with that and I proved it to myself. Yeah, you can do a chapter a day. So there, just proving it to myself. And then I sat on it. And then my music partner that I'm working with lived in Boston. And then he moved out here to the West Coast. So the book took a hiatus because it took a minute to get all this stuff together to move out here and look for like the house and, to buy a house and that kind of thing. And then I gave it to one of my coaches, my what do you call it? My outline or everything on the book itself. It wasn't a book. And she called me back and said, "Oh my God, this is a book. Why don't you make it a book?" I was like, "What? A book?" Okay. And so she got me a really fabulous editor, and we finished it. We wrote it. I mean, I wrote it, but it's it got in proper form. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it never took you 10 years.
Yeah, it didn't take me 10 years. It took me about a year.
Took you about, yeah. That's quite quick. I mean, that's quite quick. I mean, sure. So, like, what's your creative process? Like, just overall, from your music to your books to your writing, like, what's your creative process? What puts you in flow state?
It's different every time. Like, it always starts with some type of intention. So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
um, like when I decided that I wanted to be in the Recording Academy, which is Grammys, I thought, "Hey, I need a Grammy. I should be in the Grammys." It's totally ignorant, right? Just but that's how it starts, right? Everybody's innocent and ignorant on different levels at different times. And so I just, I thought, "Oh, what does it take?" So I went, "I want a Grammy." "Oh, you got a Recording Academy." "Oh, okay." And so I found the whole process and I just did it. And so now I'm a voting member of the Recording Academy here in San Francisco, California.
Nice.
And so I get to vote on the Beyoncés of the world. So, and myself. So, it's a very empowering place. And so I did that. And it's just like with anything when you're doing any kind of creative process, there's no formula, like that, like my newest song that's considered for a Grammy this year is called We Walk on Past. And it was really about how we sleep, how we're all sleepwalking, as especially in first world countries, probably not in second world, but I mean, you can't not face it, right? But here we just like,
I think there's a lot of people sleepwalking all over the world.
I'm sure of it.
99% of people are like, they buzzed out.
I know.
They don't know what's up.
What's
Like, I mean, let's go back to clarity. It's like they wake up in the morning, there is no clarity, not even for their day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Beautifully
why
said.
am I here? Why am I awake? What
Yeah.
am I supposed to be doing today? Okay, let me just get back onto what the system is saying that I need to do. I mean, back into the matrix again, and then it's the end of the day.
Brilliantly said. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's gonna take us, all of us, as a community, a world community, to, when you wake up, think deeper. Ask those hard questions and wait for it. It may take the whole day to figure out what you are, what you want, or the whole year or the whole month, but you just got to keep going, and you got to get help. You got to talk to people like you. Have a conversation with someone like you and say, "Well, what are you doing?" Or, "How do you do it?" Or, "I have no idea. Could you tell me what you think of me?" And not from a place of like, I need to be who that person wants me to be, but just more of like, share with me the things that you see from me. Like, I see that you're a talented tap dancer. Maybe that's an area you should go into tap dancing, or, what I mean? It's just like, it could be anything, but just being able to have that conversation with people that really care about you and that have some type of interest. I think that's really powerful too, just to go, I never thought about that, and then think deeper, keep thinking deeper, get more information, dig, 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 let go, let go, let go.
But, on that, like what you said about get information, people are so lazy.
Yeah.
Like, I just come across that like all the time, especially with there's a lot of people out there who want to be, well established now, registered artists. They want to be in the music game. They want to get the music out there, and it's more easier than ever right now, especially when it's it's much more cheaper. There's less red tape involved.
Right.
But when it comes to actually just putting in the work and being dedicated on a daily basis to that goal, to that vision for my life, for my career, for my music, it's like, okay, I'm going to put in the effort for, like, say, the next few weeks, let's just say like about 2 to 3 months. Then they don't see like anything like really coming, out from it, financially now. They don't see anything financially coming in. And I'm like, dude, you're still in the early phases, this is not like getting a salary. or
Yeah.
anything of the sort. And if you're going to be dependent on just streaming royalties, mechanical royalties, you ain't going nowhere. You need to branch out.
Yeah.
You have to branch out. Whether it's being like us on a podcast, being an author, consult in the business, produce for other people if you're a producer or a
That's
composer,
right.
if you're a
That's right.
songwriter, write for other artists. There's
That's right.
platforms out there like Sound Better. You can go on Sound Better, you can set up your profile, and you can just publish yourself
Yeah.
as a songwriter, and they can leverage you actually to write the song. We all do it.
Yeah.
We all do it. You can't do it alone, and that how you can generate more income for yourself. And they're like, yeah, okay, cool. We get you, Kino. We feel you. We're gonna go do it. And then 2 weeks down the line, nothing's changed.
I know.
Nothing's changed. Goes back to what you said about being committed to a long-term vision. Like, what can you share on that? Like, how do
Yeah.
you stay committed?
Yeah.
Because it's not for everyone. You
It's
can. I
not.
mean, you and I can relate on this. When we started off, on our journey, it was never easy at the start. And this takes years. This process can take years. That's why
Oh,
it's like
yeah.
trust the process.
Oh,
Trust the
yeah.
process.
Yeah.
But people don't want to stay committed to their goals.
Yeah.
Or long-term vision.
Exactly. And brilliantly said. You got to trust the process, and you have to walk through the fire. There's no
Yeah.
shortcuts. There's no shortcuts. And I think the downside, and I'm going to run back to this one question, but the downside is that we do live in a disposable society, and it's now, gratification now, because that's what we have all the time, right? I can turn on the TV, I can get my phone now I'm looking for a high, and then that's what happens, is that disappointment or whatever, and the false the illusion that it's gonna happen tomorrow. If you look at any of the top artists, there's a lot of things that they've had to do, and a lot of it's selling their soul. And it's a whole the business is a different thing. It depends on your goal. So you have to get clear. And my question for you, Kino, too, with when you talk to these people, when they stop, you just say, why? Why do you want to do it? Why do you think you should do this? And really listen, really have them listen to their whys. Why do you want to be an artist? I mean, you may have talent as a visual artist. Why are you spending all this time thinking glory days are coming and your is going to get because you're going to be famous? It's like, why?
Yeah.
It doesn't work like that. That's the illusion. They're selling you bills of goods. I wrote a song. It's called Walkin', and it's about selling your soul to the devil. And it's really about that, signing a contract and going, uh-oh, So yeah, it's like, I just ask them why. Why do you want it? Why do you think you want to be X? And make them sit through it, make them think through it. Seriously. That's the best thing you could do, Kino, when you're talking to somebody.
Yeah. If I do get an answer out of them,
Yeah.
or it'll just be like, silent treatment, head down. Just
It's all good though. They'll think about it at some point.
Yeah. But what they don't understand is they creating so much room for, say, people like us, okay,
Yeah.
Glenn, but who have negative, evil intentions.
Yeah.
We here because of good, positive intentions.
Yes.
But there's people who can monopolize these artists who can't fend for themselves,
That's
who
right.
don't know which direction to go, and they can just move in,
That's
and
right.
take advantage of these artists.
That's correct.
I mean, you don't have to sign a contract with the extremely well-established label, or one of the top 5, or the most trending label, in South Africa or the States at the moment, or in that state or province. But, any label can just be established, be like, okay, you know what, there's about 10 artists. They don't know which direction they're going in, Kino's asking them why, and they're shaking their head. So let me just take advantage of this because they are talented. And, I mean, the contract can come at that level also. Okay, come in, guys. Here's a studio, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And it be like a minimum advance as well. And then, you sold your music. And maybe that guy who's in the same position as us, but with evil intentions, he's actually very strategic on how to go about it.
Yeah.
And you won't even know what's happening. you know, you
Exactly.
know, because
That's why I say
Kino,
educate yourself.
yeah, educate yourself exactly.
Yeah,
You were happy because Kino gave you, about $100. I'm good. I'm good.
exactly.
You were 2 months in the studio. Kino said, "Nah, the music is not doing well. It's still in this phase because you don't know better."
That's right.
And that's
That's
it.
right.
The end of yeah, the end of the story.
Yep.
So, like with regards, so your brand is around being a badass. So let's go to your other two books now. What's that all
Okay.
about? Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay, Own the Goddess Within and
Oh, the God of
Soul
yeah, oh, yeah.
and A Soul on Fire. Yeah.
Yeah.
They kind of came out of like um what does it mean to own the goddess within? Like what is that? Like is there process? It's like what it's more of an empower me this is how to empower yourself, right? But both books are really around that. And I give I got give like little workbook things to do. Like this is the mantra for like Soul on Fire. There are mantras that you can create for yourself. How do you start your day with clarity? Like what's your mantra? I am loving. I am powerful today. I am resilient. Something like that. You could just say things like that for yourself. You just start your day out like that. I am patient, I am kind, those kind of things, that help you get through your day, you know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
especially if you find yourself like really being like, "Oh, I don't want to work at this job. I just really want to do my art or whatever." It's like, well, you can do your art, like you said, you know, organize yourself to a place of, I'm going to set aside 30 minutes a day to sing, or I'm going to set aside 30 minutes a day to write or read or learn something about my business. Get organized. If you really want to be that guitar player or that singer or whatever you want to be, get organized, figure out how to do it, go talk to people, go talk to other guitar players or other singers or whatever, and just be curious. Really be curious. And then once you're in that place, then you can like evolve yourself. Okay. And so both of these books, I've set it up so it's just kind of like a workbook kind of a thing, little inspirational stuff, and then it's like a workbook. And they're really, really affordable. It's like $4. It's like it's not a big deal, you know.
And your book is available as physical, also as like Kindle version. It's on
Uh
Amazon.
Kin- Kindle and
Yeah,
Amazon. Yeah.
Kindle, Amazon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely. So, what challenges do you find with other people when it comes to like your message and your content? Like I've like said, okay, you know what, you come across artists who are just not willing to commit to the goal, long term vision. What
Mm.
challenges do you come across? What do you see like as a common denominator in society these days?
As being an artist or for
Yeah.
me or
Yeah,
like
like I mean, like just generally, because we're not living in easy times, globally.
yeah.
Um, Things are not going to get like easier for the next few
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
There's this whole massive change happening.
Yeah.
From the music industry to the financial system, just to all of it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of anxiety. There's a lot of depression out there. People are just giving up more than easily. People don't want to commit because
Yeah.
there's fear, and
Yeah.
I don't believe in fear. I'm not sure about you.
Sure.
Fear is
No.
also just like it's an illusion that's just there. So what would you say, like, I mean, is a common thing that's happening in society now where people can actually change
Yeah.
for themselves?
You know, I just want everybody to know that you're not alone and you're not the only person that feels fearful or confused or not clear. You're not. And if you can remember that, then you kind of go, okay, I'm an island out here, like going, welcome to hell. Um, and then I would say, really take that time in the morning, even if you have a job and you have to get up early, I would say take that time in the morning and write, like journal or record into your phone or whatever and just say, I really want to do this, or I really would love to do this. And then ask yourself, why? Why do I want to do that? Well, I want to do that because I feel that I want to um, help people with mental illness, or mental wellness, or, or something like that. Or I really believe in the environment and I want to plant trees, or I want, which is what one of the things that I do. Like, those are the things that's like, how can I help? Because when you get out of your head, out of your space, and you're, like I said earlier, and you're in service with the world and people, and I don't mean leaving yourself behind. I don't mean like you're a doormat or something. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about when you have that goal or that dream inside and attach that to other things. Like, for me, I know that my music and my writing, it all drives towards, how can I help someone? How can I uplift somebody? How can I make them feel loved, or think deeper for themselves, not be me or try to take on what I'm saying. I'm saying find you, because once you have that really serious foundation of that, things get a little bit easier, and then you have something to live for. You have a future to live into. I'm going to get up and I'm going to play my guitar and sing for like 30 minutes today. I'm going to go to work, and then I'm going to volunteer at the local food bank, or plant trees, or whatever you're passionate about, that makes a difference, not only for you, but for other people. And then you start meeting people, and then you start like having a whole different outlook on life, and things come a lot easier. And I would say that's, again, going back to that foundational clarity. That's where I would start with hopefully I answered that question. I kind of went off, but
Yeah. Like manifest your reality.
yes, because we all can. We're all here for a reason. You just have to
Yeah,
frickin' find
amen to
it.
that.
You have to find it.
Yeah. Self-awareness. People lack
Yeah.
self-awareness. They don't know who they are.
Yeah.
They really don't know who they are. Like, one of the first exercises I do with artists who come to see me is I've got like this 2-page questionnaire just on self-awareness.
Beautiful.
Fill this form in. But you'll be surprised the amount of nonsense that actually gets written down, because people don't know, like, and I mean, it's not that, look, I believe that no one is like illiterate or stupid in the world. We can all self-educate ourselves, no matter what the topic may be about. Okay, the
Absolutely.
system may have like screwed you at certain levels in your life. Cool, you can overcome it and you can move forward. It's up to you. You need to take accountability,
Yeah.
because the information is out there. But
Yeah.
if I give you a question and I'm asking you, who are you? And you're writing your name and surname for me, you know, it's
Oh, that's good. That's good.
um, it's like,
Oh.
you see, so it's in that moment, I'm like, okay, I'm staring at this. I'm like, okay, breathe, you know,
Okay,
I'm not
breathe.
asking you who are you in this, because I know who you already are.
Yeah.
So I sit with this, but the thing is, it's also about maturity levels that I've,
Absolutely.
faced as well, because some people can sort of like, you don't take shit personal in this world, right? Don't take shit personal. You have to learn to
Yeah.
take, there's positive criticism and there's negative criticism.
Yeah.
You have to know how to take both, because
Yeah.
both is going to teach you a lot about
Yeah.
yourself. It's like what you said, was it on, what seeds did you mention about, try this, not for me, call
Oh,
it
commitment, or what?
commitment. Yeah, commitment.
Commitment. Yeah.
So like, even like about your life, like, I mean, like what you said, you have to try something. Okay, it's not gonna work. It's not a bad thing if it doesn't work, or someone tells you, look, okay, you're not good at this. It's not one of my strengths. Don't take it personal and run away back into my cave again. Oh, the world hates me. You know, it's not
Exactly.
so.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
you and
So
you get
those
to
are
and
like,
you get to learn too. That's like, don't take it, like
yeah,
you said, don't take it personally, and just go, oh man, I trust me. I know how it feels like when you feel like a failure. You're like, I put all my energy into this thing and it's not working out, you get all frustrated and stuff.
yeah.
And then you realize, you know what? I needed to learn that or go through that so I could evolve myself, and I know that I don't want to do that. Right? Sometimes that's where the power is too. That's a no. Instead of like, oh, maybe, it's like, no, I tried, and it's a no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, and I mean, the whole thing about learning more about yourself was why I actually started off with this question. And like when artists come to see me, they think, okay, cool, we're gonna go straight into the studio, we're gonna lay down the legs, and boom, that's it. I'm dope now. It's happening for me. But the reason it doesn't work out for you in the next month or so is because you never spend time actually learning about yourself. You don't know who you are. So
That's
by
right.
evaluating who you are, now you know how to branch off with your career.
Yeah.
What am I really passionate about? Yes, I'm passionate about writing music, and my lyrics have deep meaning behind it, and people are digging it. But also, it needs to run into something. Okay, like as you said, like if I'm passionate about mental illness, or I'm passionate about animals, whatever it may be, you move into those sectors with your artistic brand.
Exactly.
That's how you're going to build your brand. It's about building a brand now.
And it takes a minute to figure out how to blend those worlds together, because we're so, we're so in the mindset of like, well, it's got to be like this, because that's what the way the music industry is. So I'm only going to do this. It's like, no, it doesn't work like that. Find you, answer those questions, like you said. Yeah. Who am I?
Yeah. If you look at, even if you like idolize Beyonce or Jay-Z, whoever it may be, I mean, if you look at them from an entrepreneurial point of view, they never just stick with music as well.
Exactly.
So it's
And
cool,
they have really good, not only business sense, but I'm sure that they have a good team. Their team around them is probably saying, hey, we need to move over into perfume. We need to sell that house over there for our investment portfolio, or whatever, it's like, I mean, that would be interesting. I have my theories, but but it would be interesting to interview somebody like them from that perspective, not just bullshit conversation. But I mean, you know what I mean? Like, just like, well, who are you? Like, who are you now? Why are you doing what you're doing? Like things like that. That would be fascinating. That would be.
I don't even think they know who they are.
I know. That's my theory. Well, and that's part of the creepiness of the business, you guys. So people out there that you think you're missing I didn't get the signed with a record label deal. That young woman, she was, because she had super talent, her dad saw that and saw the advantage of that financially, which would make, I'm sure innocently, I don't think he's an evil person or anything, but you never know, and they want you to start young so they can tell you what to do, so they can pull the wool over your eyes, so you can work like a dog, and that woman worked her ass off all her life, and she's still working. You see what I'm saying? I'm sure she's growing a bit as she goes along, but man, it doesn't allow you to evolve in a way that this is just my theory. Okay. So this is not the truth, but just my opinion. Just because I've been in the business since I was 16 professionally. So, and I didn't have the opportunities because I came from a working class family. So I didn't come from, my parents are in the industry, or I live in LA, or, you know what I mean? And they can help hustle for me, that kind of thing. I didn't have all that. So, different roads, right? Different maps. But, I just feel like she didn't have the opportunities as a young woman to like really get a sense of who she is and what she wants. I think she's still, I think that can be debilitating if you get used like that as a young person, I think that's the downside, because you become the the product. You're the product, and then they're gonna utilize you for however they want it to. And then who knows where the money's going? You're like, what? You're like 15 or something. You don't know. It's like
Yeah,
no,
yeah, yeah,
no
yeah.
one's telling you that. It's like, well, we're just gonna put you in the Disney club. That kind of stuff. It's just like, make some money for mommy and daddy. We're gonna build an empire.
Oh my Lord.
You wake up one day at 40 and go, what the hell happened?
Yeah. Now that's keeping it real, eh? That's
Yeah.
really keeping it real. Like, I appreciate that. Thank you for keeping it real. We can have a good laugh out of it, but when you really think about it, that's the reality.
Yeah.
That's what it is. And that's for the artists as well. I mean, the general public, okay, but let's leave the general public out of this. That's a different conversation.
Yeah.
But like with artists, so I always explain like a balance of 80-20. I use the 80-20 rule.
Okay.
It's okay to listen to other people's music, no
Sure.
problem. But don't do it 80% of the time. It must be 20% of the time of the music
That's
you
right.
actually listen to. 80% of the time, focus on your own material.
That's right.
That's where you need to focus on.
Yeah.
If you're going to keep, listening to other people's music all the time while you're writing your own music, you're not going to develop, once again, who you are.
Agreed.
You need to be the first you, not the second somebody else.
Correct.
So, you need to focus. 20%, yeah, cool. Like, I mean, it's even like with Spotify. Like, I always had Spotify Premium my whole life, and I was jam. And I was like, nah, screw this.
Yeah.
I went down to the free plan. Now I want to limit myself of how long I'm actually on Spotify, because I need to focus on my own material.
That's right.
I need to develop myself, who I am, and put that into, whether it be my music, my blogs, or the podcasts. That's where I need to be. So stop like attending all this hip hop concerts and jumping up and down as an artist all the time and screaming their names. Because when you go home, you need to think about it. You need to sit down and think about, okay, I went to this concert. I spent $1,000.
Right.
It took about 3 hours of my time.
Right.
But I'm an artist myself. I want to be this guy on stage. You need to ask yourself, okay, what is that guy on stage doing for me right now that's going to bring benefit or value to my life as an artist?
Perfect.
That should be like a wake-up call. Like absolutely nothing, because that's how the system is designed. Okay, let's look at the pyramid scheme, top, middle, lower. So if I'm at the lower, I'm there because they need me to be there. I have to be there, Like, a mainstream artist can use bots on Spotify. If they get over 1 million streams, it's okay. If you're an independent artist and you try that, they want to take you down.
That's right. That's correct.
They want to cancel you. Nah, this is you're doing something wrong. How can you be independent artist and you're getting 1 million streams? But no, but the mainstream artist is okay, It's about knowing how to play the game as well as an artist in this day and age.
Correct.
What they telling you they doing may not be what they are actually doing themselves.
Yeah.
You just need to be smart enough to know what's truth and what's bullshit.
Yeah. It's a club. It's an inside club. So just, to your point, you've got to rise above that. And like you said, pay more attention to you, what you're trying to say, stop supporting what they're doing all the time. It's great to listen to stuff, like I'm of the same ilk, so I don't really listen to much. So people quote off, "Oh, do you know so and so?" And I'm like, "Nope, nope." There are things that are artists that I think are fantastic, and they're amazing, and they're truly authentic. They're truly themselves. They're not trying to be the next Adele or whatever, not trying to mimic that voice or whatever they're, and that a lot. And going back to what you said originally, you got to know, who am I? If you're not spending a majority of your time exploring who you are, what are you going to say? How are you going to express yourself? Are you going to sound like the next person, in church, or are you going to be you? What does that mean? And you really need to take that time to explore that, and then express that, and then try it out, you know,
Yeah.
and don't inundate yourself with somebody else's, prefabbed nonsense, because that's what it is. There, it's, and you have to, this is what it is. You have to separate yourself from being the artist or the audience.
Yeah. Well said. Well said. Well said on that one. Which one do you want to be? Who do you
Which
want to
one?
be? Which one you want to be? And also just stepping away from all the negative people in your circle as well. I mean, if I had to count how many people said, nah, this is impossible. And,
Yeah.
you can't be in the music industry. It's not going to work out because of this, because of that. Yeah, but I mean, if I had listened to all of that, if you had listened to all of that, where would we be today? We wouldn't be here today,
Right.
having this dope conversation. So you just need to eliminate all that.
Yeah.
Be the artist.
That's right.
So one more question. Where do you see the music industry, let's just say the next 2 years, 2 to 3 years, with all this politics and AI now in the picture? Where do you see the music industry in 2 years?
Yeah. Well, it's being inside the Recording Academy. One of the things that we focus on is legislation. So, and the whole AI stuff and everything, it's like, oh, here we go, and more so you need, to this day, you need to continue to ask that question. Why? Who am I? How am I going to express myself and make sure that someone's not stealing my stuff, and are fabricating, so the more I think that you can write from your heart and be unique and be you, not be unique to be unique, but just be you and understand and explore that. I think it's going to be a lot better. As far as the music goes, I see a trend right now for people wanting to go back. People are now reaching back to the 80s. They're reaching back to the 40s. They're reaching back. They're looking for music that I think is inspiring, depending on what it is. I mean, it could be a whole flurry of music for dancing, like back in the 40s, 30s, 40s. 30s and 40s, 50s, big bands, big dancing, dance. Then that shifted into, then we got new wave, then you got new age music, and all this stuff started branching out. So, I don't know. I think I'm hearing, I met somebody that's a songwriter. He writes lyric stuff, but he doesn't have the tools nor the time to put a band together or whatever. So he's been using AI to do his music aspect of it. It's really interesting. And then he passes it off to me and says, run with it. I think this would suit you. So I'm starting to explore that to see what's that going to look like, and how do I get paid? Yeah.
I mean, look, there's nothing wrong with exploring, and I have been I test out anything that actually comes my way.
Yeah.
It's good to get other people's opinion, but I've just played around with any AI tool that you could possibly think of there. Not even the music, I mean, just generally speaking. And I mean, some of the content these days that can be created. I mean, yes, if you got the ear for it, you're gonna pick up the look. Okay, this is not organic. But if you don't, I mean, you wouldn't say. You would think, okay, cool.
Yeah.
This is a real life vocalist.
Yeah. Well, and that's definitely your audience, right? They're not gonna know. So
yeah, the audience.
We owe it to ourselves as artists to be true to ourselves, and really explore that, and don't lean into technology, because eventually it'll bite everybody in the ass, because there're going to be some legislation saying, no, you can't use that. You can't you can't copyright that, because in essence, what AI is doing is stealing from artists that are already right. That's what it does. It just puts together things that is already out there, and then it reformulates it for you. And eventually it'll be like, no, you can't do that. So I would be careful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's also very tricky. I mean, because I recall it was last year. Ed Sheeran, he had a case, or Marvin Gaye's estate had a case
Yeah.
against Ed Sheeran, with the whole
Yeah.
samples and so on. But there was one thing that Ed Sheeran said that was very, very true. That I can say, okay, I agree with him. Sooner or later, someone is going to use someone else's sample. Sooner or later, it's going to happen. So how do we really control this? Because samples are just out there, it's all over the show. There's limited supply of samples versus how many artists there's. Someone sooner or later is going to use it. And how many more legal cases? So it's the same as what you say, AI just picks out, okay, cool, sample, put this together, and then boom, I got it. But I can't remember which label it was. It was one of the top 5. I'm not sure it was Warner or Universal. They signed a contract with another tech company that's actually going to monitor this. So it's so ironic, technology is going to monitor technology, to check, okay, if AI songs are created, which sample is used, and then the technology is going to pay out those, copyright owners, songwriters, in real time. So I mean, it's going to be interesting, but it's good to get, different people's opinion.
Yeah, it is going to be interesting. And I'd say to help yourself, if you're a real artist, like you really, really want to be an artist, not just want to be famous. I want to really create something. I would say, get together with, do it organic. Just be organic. Get yourself a guitar player, bass player, whatever you think, whatever instrumentation you think you would like, or play it yourself and then record it. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Let it be unique and original from you. Don't use the AI tools and stuff like that, just to be safe, and then of course educate yourself. So that I'm seriously doing that myself. So yeah.
Well, also just to conclude, be strategic about it. So what my guys and I did is, okay, look, we got our organic music.
Yeah.
Okay. So if I'm going to create an AI track, so I got my Spotify profile, Kino Isaac. If I'm going to create an AI track, I'm not going to put the track on my Kino Isaac profile. Yes, I can let people know that this track was created by AI, but I'm not going to put the track on my profile, which has only my organic music on.
Gotcha. Okay.
So what we did with one project is, because we like to innovate and create stuff and make up stuff, is like we created, it's called Kino and Britney. So I created this like Britney persona, not like Britney Spears. Okay, the blonde hair is there and so on, like a designer. And then I convert. So I used like its AI tools and I created like compositions, all that, but it's like Britney. So it's an AI creating, AI. But when it came to actually putting the track out there to the public, I was transparent about it, what it actually is and where it's going to be. And it's under a completely different profile. As look, this is a project that I am testing out using ABC tools.
Yeah.
Not going out and saying, okay, guys, I'm releasing a new track.
Right.
It features Britney. People don't know that Britney was actually AI generated and it's on the Kino profile. Like I actually wrote the song.
Yeah.
No, that's not being fake now. So like be strategic about it. Like if you're going to be that sort of fake artist who's going to use AI and then put it under your profile on Spotify, like it's an organic track that was made by me, I'm not for that. But you can be creative in other avenues.
Yeah. Agreed.
You can. But then it comes down to morals and principles.
Yep. I love it. I love what you're talking about. And another thing too, and I think this is what's missing, is that another unique thing is culturally, where do you live? What is unique about where you live? What is your background? Like, where did you grow up? Where are your people from? And start looking for instruments or voices or things that are representative of that. And I used to play around a lot with blending. I loved West African and Middle Eastern. So my early days, I was trying to blend those things into R&B soul, and so it was really fun and it was really creative. Like things were, you're like, wow, that's deep. Like it may not be a top 40 hit, but man, it's cool, and I was saying the message I wanted to say. So, those things are fun too. And then you get to learn, and it's amazing. Like there's one of the tracks that we did, we used a banjo on, but you would never know it was the banjo. Like that's how cool it is. like, because I thought banjo, no, and like, and my partner goes, no, trust me, check this out, and he played it, and he worked it, on the track itself, and you're like, that is cool. Like, that's cool. And it
Yeah.
really has a flavor and a flow of a culture, right? Like the kora, like I love kora. Yeah, I think it's heaven sent, or um what's it called? It's been so long. Just a variety of different things. I love to add them together. So,
Make a new sound.
yeah, and what's really cool is Middle Eastern and Celtic. When you blend those two together, it's like, what? That's amazing.
Yeah. It's a whole
Yeah,
new genre after that.
it is. It's amazing. It's amazing
Well,
sounding.
there's this new genre is coming out all the time anyway,
Totally.
The music industry is flooded. Oh, there's a new genre, there's a new genre,
Oh,
there's a new genre,
yep.
you know.
Yeah,
Look at
this
this, look
year,
at that.
this
Here we
year for
go.
Grammys, I'm like, okay, we've got 3 new genres. I'm like, okay, wow, okay, who's voting in that?
Oh
Yeah,
my word. Okay, like with the Grammys,
yeah,
one last thing. Like
yeah.
this whole okay, so I came across this rumor that when it comes to the Grammys, and look, I don't know. That's why I'm asking you because you're someone who's actually there. Rigged or not, you know. Clarity for people.
Okay, that is okay. It's like the Illuminati. No, um, it's once you get in, if you get in, it's not an easy thing to get in. But once you're in, then there's levels inside of that. Now, they say that you are to vote on merit. And I have a sneaky suspicion that that may not be totally true. That may be true for us because there's first level of voters, which is us, and then there's the final voting. So, yeah. To be seen. Trust me, talk to me in another year or so. There's
You
reasons
probably
why
sit in
people
there
get
and you
awards during the day. Yeah, I was on
I
the
can
red carpet, but it was 10 a.m. and it was for Urdu, It's like, what?
Okay, yeah. Thanks for being honest, as keeping it real, keeping it real.
Always,
And
always.
it can't be easy situation, position for
It's
you to
not.
be in as well. Like you on one end, okay, you part of the Grammy crew, and then on this end, I'm also an independent artist. I'm an advocate
Uh-huh.
for independent artist space. I'm
Uh-huh.
telling people how it really is out there.
Yeah.
Telling people to educate themselves.
Yeah.
So like,
It's crazy.
yeah.
Yeah. It's
Probably like
totally.
to switch the conversation all the time.
Yeah, because some people are signed and some people aren't, they're totally independent. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I
Okay,
love
no, cool. Yeah. No,
Yeah,
again, thank you so much, for coming on and
you're welcome.
giving us your time today.
It was
I mean, this was
my
insightful. This was brilliant. And it was
good.
fun.
It was totally
Fun.
fun. Totally fun. My pleasure.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you just
We're
for sharing, your dopeness with
Thank
independent
you.
artists.
Thank
You
you.
know, that hopefully they listen. Okay, no, they probably they listen, but they don't hear.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, your guest, yeah, she said this, she said that. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, okay, go do it now.
y-
Yeah. 1 week later, have you done anything? You know,
Yeah,
they're
exactly.
shaking
And I would
again.
don't ever let your prejudice, stop you, no matter what prejudice you have. Don't ever let it cloud your journey or your judgment because there's jewels in everything. You just got to go back within.
Yeah, and believe in yourself.
Absolutely.
Believe in yourself. This is what you really want to do. What have you really got to lose? When you
Exactly.
really come and you really think about it, when you
Yeah,
put it down. We're all not going to be here forever. So you got this one life in this
right.
dimension to live.
That's right.
But you worried about, all these petty things that's happening in the world, or,
No,
you
yeah,
worry about what may or may not happen tomorrow or next week or next month. Like,
yeah,
you got this one life.
That's
You
right.
know, go for it.
Go for it.
If it blows up and it doesn't work out, and I'm not saying it won't, you know,
Yeah.
it's one of those things. You get
Yeah.
up and then you try again and you do it differently because you've learned a lesson.
That's right. And it
You
is
know?
your journey. So design it. Design it the way
Yeah.
you want it.
Exactly. For me, and I'm going to be brutally honest, for the artists that don't stick it out, it means that you weren't really as passionate about it as you were claiming to
That's
actually
right.
be.
That's right.
About it.
That's right.
You know, it is what it is. If I look back at, like I first started off like, DJing was my thing. Yeah, there was a passion for music, but I started off as DJing and I was working like with all these DJs and we were all meeting up at all the events. And then I look a couple of years down the line, okay, post-COVID, none of them are really doing it anymore, involved in music at all. So
Yeah.
it means that, at the time when you were doing it, you were doing it for all the wrong reasons. And the ones that still are doing it, but just focusing on DJing, it's not enough.
Yeah.
You have to branch out to sustain yourself.
You have to find that passion, and it's okay. I think things, I think things settle out too, like everybody's doing it and it's like cool. And I want to, and then you kind of go, yeah, half of them go, yeah, I'm not passionate about it, and then it's good. Because we don't want a flood of people being inauthentic about who they are and what they're doing, right? We want the cream to come to the top, because that's what inspires us. That's what moves us forward, is those people that are really meant to do it. And it's okay. You don't have to be famous. You don't have to be a DJ or this or that, do you. What is that? And that may be okay. I spent a summer thinking I was only going to be a DJ, and now I'm not. Now I'm going to have babies. Knock yourself out.
No, 100%.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Beautiful.
Please enjoy the rest of your day. Have an awesome, dope weekend.
Thank you. And where are you located? I want to know where you're located.
In Johannesburg, South Africa.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I may be coming over there, so I just...
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Personal or business?
Business, singing, music, yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, please let me know.
I'll have my publicist circle back around with you to say, hey,
no, 100%. So what would you like, come here to record or to perform?
Perform. I think it's gonna be a retreat sometime next year.
Yeah.
And I got a 1 hour performance that's a multimedia hybrid performance. So it's gonna be cool. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Please let me know. I'm there.
Yeah.
I'm there.
Good. Okay, good. Hopefully it'll be close. I'm not sure.
Yeah, no, definitely let me know about that. Keep me updated with that.
I will. At least we'll have maybe an interview or something, at least.
Yeah. I mean, if it's a set thing also, I'll assist you guys also like with promoting it, locally.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, that would be fun. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, definitely. Let's do it.
Great.
Okay, cool. So we'll chat again soon.
Great. Thanks so much, Kino. Okay.
Bye.
Bye.